back, ladies and gentlemen. Folks, my first guest tonight is an author and Emmy-winning journalist who hosts the Rachel Maddow Show. Her new book is called Blowout. Please welcome back to The Late Show, Rachel Maddow. Okay, I watch your show most nights, but you're behind a desk. What gives? Did Hannity try to kneecap you? What happened here, Rachel?
I keep just telling people, you ought to see the other guy. It's amazing how that cuts off all further questions, because everybody imagines a different guy.
Sure.
Yeah, I just fell down. That was all it is. I'm an old person now, and when you fall down, you break 3 ligaments and get an avulsion fracture.
An avulsion fracture?
Which means the ligament rips off a piece of the bone while it's tearing.
Wow.
If anybody ever offers you an avulsion fracture, say no. It's a terrible idea. So I did this like 3 months ago, and I'm still on crutches.
Oh, my God. Surgery?
No.
Oh.
But I have incredibly ripped armpits.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because your lats.
Exactly.
Your lats get so tight.
Exactly.
Okay, well, as I've said to you many times before, that I think that you are America's premier explainer.
Oh,
something complicated going on in the day, you come out, and you, as I've said before, you lay the story out like parts on a lawn, and then you put it together and say, hey, this is how the engine works. Are you at all frustrated that the present scandal is so damn simple? Let me lay out the parts. Yeah. Trump called Ukraine, and I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't even sleuth your way through it, too, because in order to find out that Trump called Ukraine, what we had to do was ask Trump, did you call Ukraine? And he said, yes, here's the evidence. So there wasn't even like a whodunit, how can we prove it? It's just, it's over. I mean, there is stuff to explain, like, why did this happen in Ukraine? And why did he think that he could get that? And what's going to happen to Ukraine? I mean, there's other contextual stuff I can make long segments about.
Right.
But in terms of who done it, he did it, and he admits it, and now he's going to be impeached for it.
That's interesting. That's interesting. This fourth impeachment inquiry, possibly the 3rd impeachment vote we've ever had, if it actually goes to a vote in U.S. history. This is your first impeachment at the rodeo. This is Maddow time. This is your Super Bowl, right? Because everybody cares about what's going on right now. Do you feel? Do you feel the audience's need for this to be explained simply every day? Is this an exciting time to do your job?
I do think there's a lot of people interested in this as news. This is a huge thing that never happens in American history. As you said, we've had 3 impeachment inquiries before. We've had 2 presidents impeached, one in 1868, Andrew Johnson, one in the 90s, that was Bill Clinton. They were both impeached by the House and not removed by the Senate. Nixon resigned before he was ever impeached. I mean, that's it. That's our whole history of this as a country. And so I think part of what's important now, and what I'm sort of enthused about in terms of people being so into it, is that we really know nothing about what's going to happen once he gets impeached. I do think he's going to be impeached, but what's the result of that politically? You know, what does it do to the 2 parties? What does it do to the next election? Blah, blah, blah. We have no idea.
Or what even happens with the trial in the Senate? Because Mitch McConnell says the Senate rules are clear. We'd have to actually have the trial in the Senate. But what that can be almost anything, because it's not written down what that trial should be. Every time it's happened, they've kind of made it up as they went along.
Yes, and Mitch McConnell has been perfectly willing to say, Senate? What Senate? Whenever there's something he doesn't want them to engage with.
Right.
I mean, literally, a Supreme Court justice died and there was a vacancy, and Mitch McConnell was in charge of the Senate, and he just pretended he wasn't. Until there was a Republican president, so that we couldn't get a new Supreme Court justice. He's perfectly happy to just not act if need be. In this case, he says, yeah, we're going to have a trial. Now, we don't know what that trial might be, but I do think that this behavior by the president is so simple, and it's so indefensible. You can't go to another country and ask them for help against your likely opponent in the next election. You just can't. And it may be that Republicans decide either to save their own skins or because of their conscience or their patriotism, that they want to be on the right side of history on this. And I don't think they're deciding now. I think they'll decide as it plays out.
No, the interesting thing to me is the ways in which the administration is trying to throw chaff up in the air around the story. Because as I said before, it is so simple. He called Ukraine and said, hey, can you dig up some dirt, if you want those Javelin missiles. Totally simple. But now they say there's a lot of like, well, there was no quid pro quo. What is a quid pro quo? Do you think journalists or reporters should stop asking Republican senators and congressmen, do you see a quid pro quo? Because it is not necessary for this to be an impeachable offense.
Right.
Just asking the leader of another country to interfere with our election by digging up dirt on our opponent is the crime.
The ask is the crime. And if this were being prosecuted as a crime, you would not, all you'd have to prove is that you were trying to solicit this thing of value to use in your campaign. You don't actually have to get it. You don't have to promise to trade something for it.
I guess what I'm asking is, do journalists, are they falling into a trap by accepting that criteria of quid pro quo in their questioning of these senators? Because that's just like, who knows what quid pro quo, and that's debatable, when at the heart of it, it's not debatable what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like debating, the interior logic of Rudy Giuliani's arguments. Well, once you said you were his lawyer, now you said you're not acting as his lawyer. You said you asked him about Biden, and then you admitted you did. I mean, Rudy Giuliani says thing. Like, you can just put it in a file and then set it aside. You don't need to engage with it internally. There's a lot that they're doing that is not designed to convey factual information.
No, it's to create, as Ainsley was so easily confused, to create the idea that there is something confusing around a simple story.
Yes.
Because now you've got, like, Barr going to Italy. You got Giuliani going God knows where. You've got Pompeo being on the phone call, Pompeo going to Italy. Are these all just sort of political sacrificial lambs? Let anything happen to them, because that's just ordinary badness. That's not this extraordinary badness. The badness that happens to them is just, again, more chaff, more things to talk about other than the core issue.
I think that Giuliani is in a different position than Pompeo and Barr, because I think Giuliani is out there to be the heel at this point. He's like, oh, the president said something outrageous, I'll say something 10 times as outrageous, and I'll have my pants half off while I do it, and it'll be, I mean, he's willing to be this sort of heat shield for the president, because what's going to happen to Rudy Giuliani?
He's going to burn up on impact.
But when it comes to Secretary of State Pompeo and Attorney General Barr, they are people who do not have the kind of immunity from prosecution that the president does. We have put an attorney general in prison in the past in this country for participating in presidential schemes for which the president himself was not going to be imprisoned. If Pompeo and Barr were participating in this, and ultimately if there is going to be accountability for it, they're not only in moral trouble, they could potentially be in real ethical and legal trouble, and I think that matters to both of them. And so they can't be quite as cavalier as Giuliani is being just in trying to protect the president. I think they'll take it so far, but ultimately both of them are going to find their own necks at risk here.
We have to take a quick break, but don't go away. When we come back, I'll ask Rachel what stories we're missing in this impeachment brouhaha. Stick around.